All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. It's 2 o'clock. Give me one moment. All right, is there any defense attorneys requesting breakouts for any other positions? All right. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the State Expedited Accusations calendar in the State Court of Fulton County, Georgia. I'm Judge Melanie Williams, and today is January the 12th of 2024. All defendants, you have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of your case can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney at this proceeding today. As you can see, I'm conducting this hearing over the internet as a live stream. It's also being recorded. That means any member of the public can log on and watch this particular proceeding. When I ask if you understand your rights, that's what I am referring to. Those who receive a signature bond will be reset further notice. Miss Champion, what is my reset date?
The reset date will be January the 25th.
Thank you. Those who receive a surety or cash bond will be reset to state all purpose on January 25th, whereby the entire case or just the bond can be revisited. All right, who do we have first?
Position number 2.
All right, hold one moment for me, please. Position 2, are you Carrie Bessinger? Your case is 24 CR 00315A. In this case, you're charged with failure to maintain lane and DUI. Do you understand your rights today?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Who do I have from pretrial today?
Hi, Your Honor. I'm Lethea Washington.
All right. Good afternoon, Ms. Washington. Can I have the history, please?
Yes, ma'am. This defendant has one prior arrest cycle, which was the defendant's last arrest in May of 2010 for DUI alcohol, and that was in Athens, Clarke County. The defendant meets the criteria for release level 1 with an 84% chance that the defendant will appear and an 80% chance that the defendant will remain arrest-free. Nothing further.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Graham, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident took place early morning of January 12th, 2024. The officer, while operating his patrol vehicle, was almost sideswiped by Carrie Bessinger, Kerribessinger, when she was changing lanes from lane 3 to lane 4. Upon performing a traffic stop, the officer observed the odor of alcoholic beverage, reported that Ms. Bessinger informed him that she had 2 drinks 3 hours prior, including a glass of vodka. The state is recommending UJR pretrial, no driving, ADET, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
Okay. Mr. Ty?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is a 42-year-old retired Cobb County school teacher. She's lived in Georgia all her life and graduated from high school, earned a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in education. She's recommended UJR level 1. I would ask for a signature bond through pretrial services. No objections to that. I do object to the ADET and no driving so that she can, and she has a 3-year-old child, so nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Defendant is going to receive a split bond. For count 1, it'll be $1,000 SOB through the jail. For count 2, it's going to be a $1,500 surety bond. She is not to drive unless she has a valid license issued by the Georgia DDS or a driving permit. Additionally, she's to have no drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. Is there anything additional?
Nothing further.
All right. Best of luck to you. Who do we have next?
Position number 3.
All right. This is Ms. Brown Pay. Your case is 24 CR 00316A. In this case, you are charged with battery family violence. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Washington, can I have that history as well?
Yes, ma'am. The defendant has 3 prior arrest cycles beginning in 2003. The
Oh.
last
Please continue, Ms. Washington.
The last arrest was in 2004 in Nashville for controlled substance possession or casual exchange, in which the defendant received a misdemeanor conviction for that. The defendant meets the criteria for release level 1 with an 84% chance that the defendant will appear and an 80% chance that the defendant will remain arrest-free. Nothing further.
All right. Mr. Graham, if you would proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sorry, my computer screen just did something weird. All right, this incident took place on January 9th, 2024. Law enforcement responded to the location at 3328 Penny Lane in East Point in reference to a person refusing to leave. Upon arrival, the officer met with Tatiana Brown, Tatyana, who told him that she got into an argument with her mother, Tanisha Brown Pay. During the course of the argument, Ms. Brown Pay swung a Swifter cleaner in her face, the face of Ms. Brown, causing a fight to ensue. Ms. Brown sustained a visible injury to her right ankle as a result of Ms. Brown Pay biting her. We were in touch with the victim. Our office has been in touch with the victim. She says that they do not live together. The incident location is the defendant's residence. The victim confirmed the events in the warrant, stated that nothing like this has happened before, and that she and the defendant have been in contact since the incident. There's been no violence since. The victim stated that she'd like to continue contact, indicated that she will be on Zoom today. Where state is asking for signature bond through pretrial, 1-day anger management. We are asking for no further contact with Tatiana Brown, stay away from the location, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and we would like to sound for the victim in accordance with Marcy's law.
All right, Ms. Brown, are you present? And I see you on the screen, if you wish to make a statement, I need you to unmute and raise your right hand. I need you to unmute as well. The screen's still muted. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
I do.
All right, what I'm most concerned with is any desire you have for contact and any concerns you have for your safety. What would you like to tell me today?
I know me and my mother can get past this, so I know that this is the first time it ever happened. So it's not more of a like I'm scared of her or anything like that. That's really about all I have to say. It was just a really like a one-time thing. We've never got into a physical altercation before.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you coming to court making that statement. Mr. Ty, I'm inclined to grant the SOB through pretrial level 1 with the 1-day anger awareness and no further violent contact with her daughter. Do you have any objection or anything you'd like to add?
No objections, Your Honor.
All right. Defendant will receive a $3,500 signature bond through pretrial services with the requirement that she take the 1-day anger awareness class. She is to have no further violent contact with the alleged victim, last name Pay, and have no alcohol, no drugs, or no weapons as a condition of that signature bond through pretrial. Is there anything further or additional from either party?
No, Your Honor.
All right, hearing none, best of luck to you. Can we move to the next position, please?
Position number 7.
All right. Are you Kiari Hodgson?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, your case is 24 CR 0000311J. In this case, you're charged with battery family violence. You understand you're right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Washington, can I have that history too, please?
Yes, Your Honor. This defendant has no prior history, and the defendant meets the criteria for release level 1 with a 91% chance that the defendant will appear and an 80% chance that the defendant will remain arrest-free. And I do believe we may need a co-signer for this.
Okay, understood. Mr. Graham, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident took place on January 10th, 2024. Law enforcement responded to a domestic dispute at the Canyon Creek Apartments, 925 Conley Road Southeast, Unit C1 in Atlanta. Upon arrival, the officer spoke with Bryant Elkin, Elkin, who stated that he was sleeping at the time that his girlfriend, Kiari Hodgson, woke him up to confront him about text messages with another individual. When he got up, Ms. Hodgson grabbed him from behind as well as he moved. She grabbed him from behind, and as he moved her to get out of the way, her nail scratched his neck and chin. The officer spoke with Ms. Hodgson, who stated that she was getting ready for work, and she asked to use Mr. Elkin's phone to arrange a ride via Uber. At this point, he became irate, threatened to knock her out. She went to the bedroom, locked the door. Mr. Elkin attempted to break into the bedroom. Once inside, he pushed her, causing her to fall on the ground, got on top of her, put his hands around her neck. She advised that in trying to get him off of her, she sustained a minor injury to her lower right thumb. The officer did notice damage to the door frame, but did not see any visible swelling, red marks, or finger marks on Ms. Hodgson's neck, but did observe a scratch on her thumb. The officer did observe visible scratches on Mr. Elkin's neck and chin. Our office has been in touch with the victim. He says that he and the defendant are in a relationship. They live together at the incident location. They share no children. The victim confirmed the events in the warrant, stated that this was the first time they had had a physical altercation, that he's not in fear of the defendant, does want contact, and that he wants the defendant to return to the residence. He also indicated he will be on Zoom today. The state is recommending a signature bond through pretrial, 1-day anger management, still no further contact with Brian Elkin, stay away from the location, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol, and we are asking to sound for the victim in accordance with Marcy's law.
He is Brian Elkins. Is that the name? Mr. Elkin, if you are present on the Zoom conference and wish to make a statement, this is your opportunity to do so. I don't see him on the screen. I'll sound one more time. Mr. Elkin, are you present? Okay, I see Miss Chancey is on the line. Hold one moment before I go to you, Mr. Cook. Miss Chancey, please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm that today you will make an accurate translation from English to Spanish, Spanish to English to the best of your skills, knowledge, and ability?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, can we put Miss Chancey in the breakout? I believe it's with courtroom 3 and Mr. Ty. All right, Mr. Cook, what I'm inclined to do is give your client that signature bond through pretrial as recommended. But without having heard from the victim, I cannot do the no further violent contact, and he does not appear to be on the Zoom conference today. So my inclination is to do the signature bond with the 1-day anger awareness and have the defendant to have no contact with the alleged victim. Do you have any objection to that at this point?
Your Honor, we have no objection to the no contact. My client's position is that the alleged victim was the aggressor. We're talking, sometimes when you see physical harm, that's how the police make the judgment. I have many police officers in my family. I know that's a tough job, but given no given no priors, we would ask for a signature bond through the jail and no anger management requirement.
All right, understood. And I'm gonna sound for Miss Elkin one last time. All right. In light of the information before me, I'm sorry, Miss Washington, you said she needs a co-signer. Why would she need a co-signer?
She's 21.
Right. That I just wanted to verify why is her age the concern? She has to be
Yes.
over 21?
It's 21 and younger wouldn't need a cosigner for pretrial.
It used to be 19. Did it
Wow.
change?
I believe so, from my understanding. I can confirm with you. in a
Okay,
minute,
well,
but
that's
I'm sorry.
okay.
I'm
That's all
sorry,
right.
21's an adult in every area of the law.
That's all right. What we're gonna do is defendant is gonna receive a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. She's to have no contact with the alleged victim. Did the state request to stay away? I'm sorry, Mr. Graham, you're muted.
Yes, Your Honor, my apologies.
She would have no problem with that.
All right, and to stay away from the incident location. Additionally, she's to have no drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons as a condition. Is there anything additional?
No, Your Honor.
All
Nothing
right.
else, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, ma'am. That concludes your case. Who do we
Thank
have
you.
next?
Position number 8.
Okay. All right, are you Angela Noriega?
Yes.
All right, your case is 24 CR 0003138. You are charged in this case with disorderly conduct. Yes, that's your only charge. You understand, right?
Yes.
All right, can I have the history, Ms. Washington?
yes. This defendant has 11 arrest cycles beginning in 2013. The last arrest was October 4th, 2022 for criminal mischief in Dallas, Texas. There also was a 2013 misdemeanor conviction in Palm Beach County, Florida for possession of marijuana less than 20 grams. Also possession of paraphernalia and resisting an officer without violence. And then there's also a 2020 assault that causes bodily injury to a family member, and that was in Bell County, Texas. And the defendant meets the criteria for release level 2. Nothing further.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Graham?
Thanks, Your Honor. This incident took place on January 9th, 2024. Law enforcement were dispatched to the Hampton Inn at 3450 Creek Point Drive in East Point regarding a person refusing to leave. Upon arrival, the office spoke with the hotel staff, who stated that Angelica Noriega, who was not a guest at the hotel, was in the lobby being belligerent and refusing to leave. She was asked by the officers to leave, which she did after about 5 minutes. A few minutes later, the officer was dispatched to a nearby location, restaurant This Is It at 3523 Camp Creek Parkway, East Point, regarding Miss Noriega being belligerent and disturbing the patrons of the business. She was then placed under arrest. The state is requesting a signature bond through pretrial ADET, stay away from the location, Hampton Inn, and This Is It. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out.
All right. Mr. Cook, I'm inclined to grant that SOB through pretrial level 2. Do you have any objections? Of course, there would be a stay away from both locations.
Yeah, no problem with the stay away and the SOB. Miss Noriega actually lives in Salado, Texas, so I'm not sure the NEDT would be useful or necessary. It's hard to know what's going on there, so I would object to that, but that would be our only objection to the recommendation.
All right, understood. All right, defendant will receive a $3,000 SOB through pretrial level 2. She's to stay away from the Hampton Inn and the This Is It locations on Camp Creek. And she's to have no weapons, no drugs, or alcohol as a condition of that SOB through pretrial. Is there anything additional? All right, hearing none. Best of luck to you. Who do we
Thank
have
you,
next?
Position number 10.
All right. Is this Tamira Robinson?
Yes, it is.
All right, your case is 24 CR 0000319G. In this case, you're charged with simple battery, family violence. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Washington, can I have the history?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant has 12 arrest cycles beginning in 2000. The last arrest was March 22nd in 2021 for aggravated assault. The defendant has a 2011 misdemeanor conviction for battery family violence in Fulton County. The defendant was arrested in 2017 for battery family violence. but there is no conviction listed for that. The defendant does meet the criteria for release level 1 with a 79% chance that the defendant will appear and an 80% chance that the defendant will remain arrest-free. Nothing further.
All right,
Good
thank you.
afternoon, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Thomas, please proceed.
Brief facts of the case is that on January 11th, the officer was dispatched to the incident location, that being 1215 Westview Drive, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, in Fulton County, Georgia. The officer was greeted by the victim and the defendant. The victim stated that he was on the couch laying down when the defendant came on the couch and laid down and put her feet in his face. He asked her to remove her feet, to which she refused. He then had to ask her again to remove her feet from his face, and she refused again. And at that point, because she was intoxicated, she became irate. The victim stated that they exchanged words, that she eventually swung her fist at him, striking him in the left side of his face. She then grabbed her purse and began hitting him with her purse. The victim and the defendant have been in a relationship for about approximately 7 years and currently live together. Our office has been able to get in contact with the victim in this case, the victim being Dwight Matthews, traditional spelling on both names. He stated that they are in a relationship, that they live together at the incident location. They share no kids. He confirmed the events in the warrant. He states that this is not the first time the defendant has been violent towards him. However, this is the first time that the police have been called. He does state that he is not in fear of the defendant, and that he wants no violent contact, and that he is okay with the defendant returning to the residence. I do believe that they will be on the call today. Your Honor, the recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Given the temporal component of the matter having happened, I believe, yesterday, the request is no contact, a stay away, and the completion of a family violence intervention program. And if we can sound from Mr. Matthews at the conclusion, that'd be greatly appreciated.
All right, Mr. Matthews, are you present and wish to make a statement at this time? Okay, I do not see or hear anyone sounding in response. Mr. Cook, again, I'm inclined, in light of the history, to give the SOB through pretrial at the recommended level 2. But because the alleged victim is not present today, I would do the no contact. Do you have any objection or anything additional you would like to put onto the record?
I believe she has other places to go, so we'd have no problem with the no contact, the stay away. We would ask at most a 1-day anger awareness, not the victim impact.
Understood, and I agree. All right, defendant will receive a $2,500 signature bond through pretrial at level 2. She's to have no contact with the alleged victim and stay away from that incident location. She's to take the 1-day anger awareness course and have no alcohol, no drugs, and no weapons as a condition. Is there anything additional?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Nothing further from the state.
All right, best of luck to you, ma'am. That concludes your case. What do we have next?
Position 1 with the interpreter.
Oh, we're back. Wonderful. All right. Let's see. That's coming up. All right. Good afternoon, Carlos Bernard Palma. Your case is 24 CR 000314D.
Buenas tardes, señor Carlos Bernal Palma. Su número de caso es 24 CR 00314D.
In this case, you're charged with battery and family violence.
En este caso, usted tiene un cargo por golpes y lesiones, violencia familiar.
You have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of this case can and will be used against you.
Usted tiene el derecho a guardar silencio. Todo lo que diga acerca de este caso puede y va a usarse en su contra.
You have a right to an attorney.
Usted tiene el derecho de a tener un abogado.
And Ms. Atai is present on this Zoom conference to assist you.
Y la abogada Atay está presente en la plataforma de Zoom para ayudar.
I'm conducting this proceeding over the internet as a live stream.
Estoy manteniendo esta sesión a través de la internet en vivo.
It's also being recorded.
Y también está siendo grabado.
That means any member of the public can log on and watch.
lo que significa que cualquier miembro del público puede entrar en la plataforma y observarlo.
Do you understand your rights and how I'm conducting the hearing today?
¿Usted entendió sus derechos y cómo estoy conduciendo esta audiencia hoy? He's muted.
Can we unmute him in courtroom 3? Do you understand your rights, sir?
¿Entendió sus derechos, señor?
Sí.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Ms.
Gracias.
Washington, can I please have his history, leaving time for interpretation?
Por favor, podría tener los antecedentes y pause para la interpretación.
The defendant has no criminal history, and the defendant meets the criteria for UJR jail.
El acusado no tiene antecedentes penales o arrestos y él cumple los requisitos para recibir el UJR a través de la cárcel por sus siglas en inglés.
All right, Mr. Graham, please proceed.
All right, this incident took place on August 10th, 2023. Law enforcement responded to 2255 Lenox Road Northeast, Atlanta.
Este incidente ocurrió el 10 de agosto del 2023 y la policía respondió a una llamada domiciliada en el 2255 de Lenox Road en Atlanta.
The officer spoke with Elizabeth Chauca, Chauca,
Y el oficial habló con Elizabeth Chaca, CHA.
who stated that her boyfriend, Carlos Bernal Palma, grabbed her and struck her when he became upset during a conversation.
Y le declaró que su novio, Carlos Bernal Palma, la rodeó con los brazos y la trató de golpear mientras tenían una discusión.
The conversation involved a car accident that Miss Chaka was involved in earlier that day.
Y la conversación se trataba de un accidente automovilístico que la señora Chaca había tenido anteriormente ese día.
She also stated that she was scared, waited until the following morning to call the police.
Y ella declaró que tuvo miedo, esperando entonces hasta la mañana siguiente para llamar a la policía.
The officer observed visible bruising to her arms and bruising to her right eye.
Y el oficial pudo observar moretones en el brazo derecho de ella y en su ojo derecho. I'm sorry, en su brazo y en el ojo derecho. Thank you, sir.
Our office has been in contact with the victim.
Nuestra oficina se ha contactado con la víctima.
The victim and the defendant were in a relationship. They no longer live together. They share no children.
Ellos, el acusado y ella tenían una relación, han vivido juntos y no tienen hijos juntos.
The incident location is the defendant's residence.
Y el lugar del incidente es la residencia del acusado.
The victim confirmed the events in the warrant, stated nothing like this has ever happened before.
Y se emitió la orden de arresto y ningún otro incidente había ocurrido antes.
The victim stated that they have had limited contact since the incident and that she is not in fear. The defendant is okay with having contact.
I'm sorry, sir. Have they had contact this time? During this time? Okay.
Yes, limited contact.
Thank you. La víctima ha declarado que ellos han tenido contacto durante todo este tiempo y que ella no teme a continuar el contacto entre ellos.
The state is recommending signature bond through pretrial, a one-day anger management, no further contact with Elizabeth Chalka, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol.
Lo que la fiscalía recomienda es una fianza bajo firma a través de los servicios previos al juicio, que tome un curso de manejo de la ira, no tener más contacto con Elizabeth Chaca en absoluto y se prohíbe el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas.
And Your Honor, I do believe the victim will be on Zoom today if we could sound for the victim.
y creo que podría estar la víctima presente si podemos llamarla. Señora o señorita Elizabeth Chuck, ¿está presente? Por favor, prenda su cámara y micrófono. Elizabeth Chaca.
Buenas tardes.
Good
All right, Miss.
afternoon.
All right, Ms. Chalker, if you wish to make a statement, what I'm most concerned with today is whether you wish to have contact with the defendant.
Bueno, señora o señorita Chaca, si usted desea hacer una declaración hoy, lo más importante que yo quiero saber es que si usted desea continuar o tener contacto con el señor Palma, el acusado.
And I also am concerned if you have any concerns for your safety.
Y también quisiera saber si usted tiene alguna preocupación referente a su seguridad personal con respecto a él.
Please raise your right hand. I'm going to place you under oath.
Por favor, levante su mano derecha que la voy a juramentar. Derecha. Thank you.
Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
¿Usted jura que todo lo que dirá hoy será la verdad, lo mejor que usted pueda, bajo pena de perjurio?
Sí,
Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down. In light of those directions I gave you, what would you like to tell me?
Y puede bajar su mano y después de darle las instrucciones que le acabo de decir, ¿qué es lo que usted quisiera decirme?
ah, pues no le tengo miedo a Carlos.
I'm not afraid of Carlos.
Nosotros hemos seguido conversando.
We were continue communicating.
Ah, en agosto fue la primera vez que él pudo actuar de esa manera.
In August, it was the first time that he behaved that way.
Pues ha mostrado un cambio de alguna manera durante todo este tiempo.
And from that date, he has showed that he has changed.
Sí, y pues capaz por impulso o en desesperación pude actuar en ese momento.
And maybe by an impulse or desperation, I reacted at that moment.
Pero pues somos seres humanos y nos equivocamos y no quisiera continuar con este proceso con él.
But we are, well, we're human and we make mistakes, and I wouldn't like to continue with this process between us.
All right, I appreciate you coming to court and making that statement.
Yo le agradezco por venir y presenciar este tribunal virtual y hacer esa declaración.
Ujú.
Ujú.
All right,
Gracias.
Thank you.
thank you. Mr. Ty?
Yes, Your
Señora-
Honor. My client is 27 years old. He is gainfully employed as a landscaper. He
Mi
has
cliente tiene
graduated.
27 años de edad y está empleado en el paisajismo.
He has graduated from high school.
Él se graduó de la escuela secundaria o preparatoria.
He has lived in Georgia for several years and he has family and friends here.
Él ha vivido por varios años en Georgia y tiene amigos y familia aquí en Georgia,
Including a minor son that he cares for.
incluido un hijo menor por el que está cuidando.
He is recommended for a UJR through the jail, so I would ask for an SOB jail.
Él cumple los requisitos para recibir por sus siglas en inglés, el UGR a través de la cárcel y una firma y una fianza bajo firma a través de los servicios previos al juicio.
And no further violent contact with the complaining witness.
Y no tener más contacto violento con la víctima demandante.
Nothing further.
Nada más.
All right. In light of the information before me, Defendant will receive a $5,000 signature bond through the jail.
De acuerdo a las declaraciones e información presentadas ante mí, el acusado recibirá una fianza de $5,000 bajo firma a través de la cárcel
He's to have no further violent contact with the alleged victim.
y no puede tener más contacto violento con la víctima alegada.
And he is to have no alcohol, no drugs, or weapons as a condition.
Y queda prohibido el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas como condición de su fianza.
Is there anything additional?
¿Algo más?
Nothing further.
Nada más adicional.
All right. Best of luck to you, sir.
La mejor de las suertes para usted, señor.
Gracias.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Chancey, before you go, will you please sound?
Yes, Your Honor. Buenas tardes. ¿Hay alguien que necesita un intérprete para contactar a la jueza? Por favor, prenda su cámara y su micrófono y avísenos.
All right.
Hola.
Hola, quiero saber sobre el caso de Alexander.
Hello, I want to get information on Alexander case.
Okay. We haven't done that case yet. She'll have to hold.
Okay, I'll stay, Your Honor, then.
All right. That case is last too, unfortunately. All
Okay.
right.
Señora, ese es el último de los casos en la lista, así que va a tener que esperar. ¿Está bien?
Está bien.
Yo esperaré también.
Your,
All right.
Your Honor,
Thank you.
that's my client. Could I ask her, well, she's connected with my client. Could I ask her to stay the remainder of the calendar?
Well, I believe she plans to, since she just
Thank you.
asked for that.
Sir,
Were
she
you
said-
able to, were you
she
able to
said she-
interview your client?
Yeah. Oh, yes, he speaks.
Your client speaks English.
Yes.
Okay, understood. All right. Thank you, Ms. Chancey, for please holding. All right, who do we have next?
You're welcome.
Una
Sí,
pregunta.
just one question.
Very quickly, we need to move
Muy
on with our
rápido,
calendar.
señora.
Sí, él tendrá, porque él me ha podido llamar a mí para poder solucionar el tema de su fianza. Pues no sé cuál es el siguiente proceso.
I just
Después.
don't know what is the next step in the process because he has been calling me asking how to handle the
Okay, tell her,
bond.
please get in touch with his attorney. That's all I can tell her at this point, and someone will give her some more instructions, okay?
Ok, por favor, contáctese con la abogada de él. No puedo darle más instrucciones.
Ms. Atai, would you chat her perhaps just a number that she could call? And
Yes,
Ms.
she has my
Chancey-
number.
Okay, so that's all we can do.
Ok, se va a contactar. La abogada tiene su número. Ok, se va a contactar.
Ok,
All right, who do we have next?
¿Quién?
no tengo el número de la abogada.
La abogada tiene el suyo.
Ok, gracias.
All right,
Position number 12.
all right, thank you. All right, are you Venetia Shepherd?
Yes.
All right, your case is 24 CR 0000321D. In this case, you're charged with battery family violence. You understand, right?
Yes.
All right, can I have the history, please, Ms. Washington?
Yes, Your Honor. This defendant has one prior arrest cycle beginning in 2018, which was the defendant's last arrest for marijuana less than 1 ounce, possession of a firearm, and theft of lost or mislaid property. And that was in Tybee Island with their police department. The defendant does meet the criteria for a UJR jail. Nothing further.
All right, thank you, Mr. Thomas.
One moment, Your Honor. I just want to make sure, because I do believe that this is a case that is a co-defendant case, and in the interest of time, we could handle both at the same time. But let me just double check. This is a co-defendant case, Your Honor. I believe Mr. Buffington is the, I'm sorry, Culpepper. I don't know where I'm getting Buffington from. Culpepper, Michael Culpepper is the co-defendant or
Okay.
cross-defendant, better yet.
Understood. All right, please proceed.
All right. The facts of this case, Your Honor, is essentially that on January 11, 2024, the defendant got into a verbal altercation with the victim in this case, Mr. Michael Culpepper. During the verbal altercation, the victim advised that he was attempting to remove all of his belongings from the residence, and while leaving, the defendant attacked him, biting him on the right side of his neck, causing his neck to bruise and to bleed. The victim and the defendant have lived together at the location. Uh, Given the nature or the posture of the case, Your Honor, and the limited criminal history, the state's recommendation is a signature bond through the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the cross defendant in this case. I don't believe it's appropriate to put a stay away on, as the facts indicate that he was moving out, but if we could put the stay away on the co-defendant, that'd be greatly appreciated. I'm sorry. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. We don't need to stay away on the co-defendant. The completion of a family violence intervention program. And I don't think we sound for the victim as they are currently in custody.
Right. Now, you said that we do or we do not? I was confused.
We don't sound for the victim. That's what I said.
No, not the sounding. I got that part. The question is, do we, are you asking for a signature bond? I'm sorry, are you asking for the stay away as it
No,
pertains-
because as I evaluated, if the victim was in the process of moving out, then there's no reason for the defendant in this case, particularly, to stay away from that location.
So it is, Ms. Kim, this is your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
And the property that is at issue was her home?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm inclined to give her a signature bond through pretrial. Level 1, require a 1-day anger awareness course and to have no contact with the cross defendant. Do you have any objection to that?
No objection. However, I just want to clarify that I believe they are in the same apartment complex. So he has another unit in that apartment complex. So I just want my client to be able to go, but it could be less than 200 yards, Your Honor,
Okay.
to Mr. Michael's house.
Understood. So what we'll do is defendant is going to receive a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. She's going to take the 1-day anger awareness course and have no contact with the cross defendant. Additionally, we're not going to require any stayaways, but to make it clear, we are going to ask that they stay at least 200 yards away from each other. And she has no alcohol, no drugs, and no weapons. That's a condition. Is there anything additional? All right, hearing none. Best of luck to you, Ms. Shepherd. Can we do the cross defendant case, Mr. Culpepper?
Coming up now. Position number 5.
All right, Mr. Culpepper, your case is 24 CR 000323D. In this case, you're charged with battery family violence. You understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Washington, can I briefly have the history?
Yes, Your Honor. This defendant has 9 prior arrest cycles beginning in 2009. The last arrest was December 20th, 2018 for driving without a valid license. The defendant does have a 2016 misdemeanor conviction for giving a false name and a DUI. The defendant meets the criteria for release level 2 with a 79% chance that the defendant will appear and an 80% chance that the defendant will remain arrest-free. Nothing further.
Okay, I've heard the facts of the case, Mr. Graham and Ms. McLeod. Since it's a cross defendant case, I will, my inclination based upon the history and my knowledge of the facts is to give this defendant a signature bond through pretrial at level 2 with the same restrictions that he stay away from the incident location and have no contact with the cross defendant. Mr. Graham, your objections or things you'd like to put onto the record?
And Your Honor, if I could just state, this is the first time where in looking at the 2 different warrants, they were drastically different. And so the facts that I put on the record do not kind of correlate to the facts that would go with the.
Well, we'll let Mr. Graham fill him in. He can fill him in, but it still sounds like I know what happened, but go ahead, Mr. Graham.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. The only thing that's different in the warrant here is that the defendant in this case punched the victim in the nose, causing her to bleed and bruising. That they live together at the location. So that's the only difference that I have. The recommendations are the same.
All right. So no objection to the level 2 pretrial SOB. Mr. Graham?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. McLeod, objections to the pretrial level 2 SOB with the conditions as stated?
No, Your Honor, but we would need a one-time police escort back to the location because my client tells me that the other defendant has his car keys, and she may also have a car in her possession that belongs to him, and he would need to retrieve those items.
That's very reasonable. Defendant will receive a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. He is going to take the 1-day anger awareness course as well. He's to have no contact with the cross defendant, and he is to stay away from that location. They should maintain 200 yards from each other. He is, however, permitted to return one time with a member of law enforcement to retrieve any items. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, no alcohol, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
And nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Culpepper. That concludes your case. Who do we have next?
Position 4.
All right, Mr. Bryant, your case is 24 CR 0000317G. In this case, you're charged with battery family violence. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Washington.
Yes, Your Honor, this defendant has 3 prior arrest cycles beginning in 2014. The last arrest was May 15th, 2023 for battery and criminal trespass, and that was in Fulton County. That case number is 23 CR 00297 as in girl. And the defendant is currently on pretrial regarding that matter, and we will be surrendering that bond. The defendant has an entering auto under the First Offender Act in 2016, and that matter was sealed in 2022. And the defendant is recommended and meets the criteria for release level 2 with an 84% chance that the defendant will appear and a 71% chance that the defendant will remain arrest-free. Nothing further.
All right, thank you. Mr. Graham?
Thank you, Your Honor. And if I can just correct the record quickly on position number 3, I mentioned that we're in contact with the victim, but that was incorrect. I was reading this victim statement on that one, just for the record.
You talking about Miss Brown Pay?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. Your
okay.
Honor. This incident took place on September 16th, 2023. Law enforcement was dispatched to 1940 Fisher Road Southeast, apartment 70C, Atlanta, regarding a physical dispute. Upon arrival, officers were approached by Miss Stacy Blackmon, Blackmon, who stated that she got into a physical altercation with her son, Albert Bryant, and his significant other. She told the officers that she and Mr. Bryant got into a verbal dispute the day before and that he told her to leave his residence. She returned to the residence to retrieve some important papers and items, at which point a physical altercation began. While she was looking through some bags to retrieve her items, Mr. Bryant began hitting her in the head, then dragged her down the stairs by pulling her by the hair. The officer noted blood on Ms. Blackman's face that came from her nose and bruising on her cheeks. She was treated and transported to Grady Hospital by the responding EMTs. Our office has been in touch with the victim. She's the mother of the defendant. She stated that they do not live together, that the incident location is the defendant's residence. The victim confirmed the events in the warrant. She stated nothing like this has ever happened before, that she and the defendant have been in contact since the incident, that there's been no violence since, and the victim would like to continue contact. She indicated that she will be on Zoom if we can sign for the victim at the conclusion. The state is recommending a $2,000 surety bond, 1-day anger management. We're still asking for no further contact with Stacy Blackman, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol.
Okay. Ms. Blackman, I saw you on the screen earlier. Please turn on your camera and raise your right hand if you'd like to make a statement. I don't see her any longer. I'm sounding one last time for Ms. Blackman. All right, Ms. McLeod, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. My client denies the allegations in the warrant. He is 28 years old, and he tells me that he is disabled and has been for some time. So I would ask the court to consider giving him a signature bond. Also, this incident allegedly happened more than 3 months ago. And based on what the prosecution has said, this was a one-off incident. And mom apparently wants to have contact with her son. So we would ask that any bond conditions be no further violent contact between the parties. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. At this time, defendant will receive a $2,000 surety bond. He's to have no further contact with the alleged victim. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And as a reminder, he will be reset to state all purpose on January the 25th. Is there anything additional?
Nothing, Your Honor. It's just that he's on very low income. He is disabled. He's not employed at all. He's not able to work. So if he doesn't get a signature bond, he'll essentially be sitting in jail.
All right, my ruling will stand, Ms. McLeod, but I do appreciate your advocacy. Best of luck to you, sir. All right, who do we have next?
Your Honor, that concludes my business before the court today. May I be excused?
Yes, you may, Ms. McLeod. Take care. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Position number 9.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Perkins. Your case is 24 CR 0000318Y. In this case, you're charged with battery family violence. You understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Washington, can I have these two, please?
Yes, the defendant has 28 arrest cycles beginning in 2001. The last arrest was October 5th, 2021 for a probation violation. There was a 1 felony and 2 misdemeanors filed under the First Offender Act, and that was sealed in 2018. There are 4 misdemeanor convictions and 4 felony convictions outside of the 10-year period. Within the last 10 years, Your Honor, the defendant had a 2014 felony conviction for aggravated assault, a 2018 felony conviction for possession of a firearm and aggravated assault. And it does appear that the defendant is serving 5 years of probation on that case. And the sentence date was August 30th, 2021. There was a 2023 felony conviction for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and theft by taking. And the defendant does appear to be serving a total of 7 years on probation, with that sentence date being June 30th, 2023. And the defendant does meet the criteria for release level 3 with a 79% chance that the defendant will appear and a 65% chance that the defendant will remain arrest-free. Nothing further.
All right, thank you, Mr. Pierre Thomas. Please proceed.
Your Honor, the facts of the case is that on October 10, 2003, the officer was dispatched to the incident location, that location being 687 South Evelyn Place, Northwest Atlanta, Georgia, here in Fulton County, Georgia, in response to a dispute call. The officer spoke with the victim, who is Taquisha, Taquiesha Johnson, traditional spelling, who told the police that they were called to her home because she was involved in a physical dispute with the father of her child, who is the defendant. She stated that the incident began that morning when she arrived home from work to discover the defendant was waiting for her on her porch. She stated that the defendant was supposed to return a rental car that she was using, and so that she attempted to walk past the defendant to enter her home. However, he grabbed her from behind and started punching her. During the attack, the victim advised that she was struck multiple times. After the incident occurred, the victim advised that she went inside the home and locked the door. The officer was able to observe an injury above the victim's upper lip. The victim and the defendant share a 5-year-old child together, and they advised they lived together back in 2017, but not currently. Our office was able to get in contact with the victim. She states that they are not in a relationship. She states that they do not live together. However, they share that 1 child together. She states that the incident location is her home. I do believe that she will be on the call today, so I'll let her sound for the rest. If we could sound for Ms. Johnson at the conclusion of the state's request, that'd be greatly appreciated. But the state's going to request a $3,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim, a stay away from that location, and the completion of a family violence intervention program. Nothing further to add, Your Honor.
All right, is Ms. Johnson present and wishes to make a statement? All right, hearing and seeing none. Mr. Cook?
Your Honor, we would ask for a bond consistent with pretrial recommendation, an SOB level 3.
All right, understood. All right, defendant will receive a $2,000 surety bond. He's to have no contact with the alleged victim and stay away from the incident location. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, no alcohol, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Thank you, Your Honor. Nothing else.
Your Honor,
all right.
nothing to say.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Perkins. Who do we have next?
Come on, Mr. Perkins.
I ain't even here.
Position number 11.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Rogers. Your case is 24 CR 0000320J. You're charged with theft by shoplifting. Do you understand, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Washington.
The defendant has 3 prior arrest cycles beginning in 2018. The last arrest was on July 14, 2022 for criminal damage to property in the 2nd degree, and that was in Fulton County. And this case does appear to be open. The case number is 2022 CP 210694, and the defendant meets the criteria for release level 1. Nothing further.
Your Honor, who is this? I'm sorry, I didn't hear the
Number 11,
number 11.
Mr. Rogers.
Brief facts of the case is that on November the 28th, 2023, the officer responded to the incident location, that being 61490 National Highway, South Fulton, which is the Walmart, in regards to a theft by shoplifting. The loss prevention officer and the officer were able to see the defendant conceal a power tool in his underwear via video surveillance. The defendant passed all points of sale, and once the defendant left the store, he was able to be detained by the officer and advised of his charges. The recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the jail, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and a stay away from that incident location, Your Honor.
What was the approximate value of the alleged power tool that was taken?
According to the warrant, a whopping $30.
Okay. In light of the information before me, Ms. Campbell, I'm inclined to give your client a signature bond through the jail with the requirement that he stay away from that Walmart. Do you have any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. At this time, defendant will receive a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. He must stay away from that location on Old National Highway and have no alcohol, no drugs, no weapons. Anything additional?
Nothing further. Thank you.
All right. Best of luck to you, sir. All right.
Number 13, Stone.
All right. All right, Mr. Stone, your case is 24 CR 0000322B. In this case, you are charged with battery and theft by taking. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Washington.
Yes, the defendant has 3 prior arrest cycles beginning in 2015. The last arrest was on January 5th, 2024 for theft by taking, and that was in Fayette County. And this case does appear to be open. The defendant also appears to have an open case in Fulton County for simple battery family violence. This case number is 21 CR 0044446B as in boy. It appears that the defendant has a warrant with Atlanta for failure to appear, and that warrant date is September 26, 2023. The defendant meets the criteria for release level 2 with an 84% chance that the defendant will appear and a 71% chance that the defendant will remain arrest-free. Nothing further.
All right, thank you. Thomas.
Brief facts of the case is that on January 16, 2023, the officer was dispatched to the incident location, that incident location being 2219 Benidorm, Benidorm Court, South Fulton in Fulton County, Georgia, in regards to a domestic dispute fight. The officer met with the victim, who advised that the defendant went to her house or arrived at her house and asked her to take a ride with him in his new vehicle. The defendant was unable to explain where the car came from, and the victim asked why it had Florida tags on it. She believed the vehicle to be stolen because he refused to give her any sort of information about how he got it. That conversation infuriated the defendant. The defendant attempted to grab the victims by her hand and she pulled away, at which time the defendant began to pick her up and repeatedly slam her to the ground. The victim stated that during the altercation, she was able to call the police, and at which point the defendant grabbed her iPhone off the ground and fled the scene. The victim sustained multiple bruises to both of her legs and arms as a result of the altercation. The victim also suffered a broken nail, which left her pinky finger with an open laceration. Your Honor, the victim in this case appears to be Radria, RADRE''A, Foster traditional spelling. Your Honor, the recommendation from the state and the rationale for this is that bench warrant, that simple battery family violence out of 2021 was in bench warrant status, and I believe that's where he caught the FTA. He also was simultaneously arrested for these charges at the same time that he was arrested for the theft by receiving charges, felony, contributing to the delinquency charges, and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer here in Fulton County. The recommendation from the state is a $2,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with Ms. Foster, a stay away from that incident location, and at least the completion of one anger management course. And our office was not able to get in contact with Ms. Foster, so if we could sound for her in accordance with Marcy's law, that'd be greatly appreciated.
All right, Ms. Foster, if you are present on this Zoom conference and wish to make a statement, please unmute and turn on your camera. All right, hearing none, Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 26 years old. He was born and raised here in Georgia. He's gainfully employed. It is a third-party company to a contractor to Walmart and Sam's Club. He has been working there for about 5 to 6 months, and he really does not want to lose his job. He has been arrested and been in the jail quite a bit. Your Honor, this incident happened on January 16, 2023. Ever since then, they had no contact, and I mean, they don't even live together. They don't have any child together. So my client has no objection to stay away and no further contact with Radria Foster. And he graduated from high school. He was a good track sports person, and he did also football. Your Honor, he has a 7-year-old daughter and another kid on the way for him to take care of financially. We would like to request for signature on bond, pretrial service level 2. Thank you.
All right. Defendant will receive a $1,500 surety bond, $1,000 on the battery, $500 on the theft by taking. He's to have no contact with Ms. Foster and have no alcohol, no drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything additional?
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
All right. Best of luck to you, sir. That concludes your case. Will we be able to get the Alpharetta jail on? Do we know at courtroom 2?
But I think they are in intake now. They're getting ready to bring them around to the courtroom.
Okay, because Ms. Kim still needs to do her interview. All right, who do we have next?
But I also have a Miss Ebony Franklin. She wasn't on the calendar for today.
Is it an add-on? Does anyone know?
I was able to interview her.
Is she supposed to be on Miss Champion? Do you know what happened? Is that person supposed to be on this calendar?
She was booked in this morning at 3:40 a.m. So she did meet the booked in for the cutoff time.
She wasn't on our pull sheet. I'm not quite sure.
Maybe does the state know?
Yes, Judge Williams. This is Cheryl Thornton for the solicitor's office. She's actually on the pull sheet for tomorrow.
Okay, so she'll be taken care of tomorrow. Understood. I guess that case was not filed down in the queue in time. Is that what happened? Okay.
Your Honor, I also interviewed Lorene Allen, and I'm not sure if she's going to be an add-on today.
I don't think so. Does anyone know? Was that case accused in time?
I believe so. I believe that is a felony, and that she should have been seen on the felony first appearance calendar.
Yes, they took care of her in felony court earlier.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Do we have any positions left at courtroom 2? Are we waiting for Alpharetta?
The only person we have is Mr. Terrell and I don't have anyone to take the young lady out.
Okay, so the courtroom is not clear.
No, ma'am.
Okay, we can't do Mr. Terrell unless the state uh gives us our position regarding doing this case in
Did
light of the circumstances in a breakout.
I might have missed this, but did the Terrell person bond out? I guess I gotta
What you
ask
mean
that.
position? Is there an announcement for position 19?
There's a Terrell and a Terrell. Terrell is in the courtroom.
Right.
No, she's on her way around to the courtroom. She's coming from the
She's
Alpharetta.
another Alpharetta person. So in order for us to take care of position 18, are we able to and you said that we cannot remove the other person from courtroom 2?
No, ma'am, the holding tank is for males only. I have,
Okay.
Can we do a breakout? Or-
The state is gonna object to a breakout, I'm sure, but what is the state's position regarding the breakout?
The state objects to a breakout. These are open proceedings.
I understand, but I'm not gonna do it with another person sitting there. Um, okay, well, we have to hold, will there be any opportunity to have the other party removed? We will need to have her removed at some point.
yes, ma'am, someone was coming back shortly. They just went around the corner to take.
Okay, so we'll hold.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
We're ready for position number 18. The courtroom is now clear.
I'm sorry, say that again.
We're ready for position number 18. The courtroom is now clear.
Oh, okay. We'll be right. 1 second. All right, we are now going to take up the case of Alexander Terrell, 24 CR 000-325G. I will not sound the charge. Can we please turn off the live stream?